Watch this. I'm going to ask Claude a question about content that's buried somewhere in these three marketing books. It found that instantly. Now watch. I'm going to drag another PDF into this folder, and in about 30 seconds, Claude will automatically know everything in that document too. No manual uploads, no copy pasting, completely automatic. Today, I'm going to show you the ridiculously easy 5 steps to unlock your most productive self. Let's go. Okay, so the first step in this process is going to be to go to aistudio.google.com, and this is where we're going to create our first project, and we're going to create an API key so that we can access the contents of that project. Now, if you don't have a Google AI Studio account already, you can just sign up using Google if you have a Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account, create one and then sign up using Gmail. Now, once you create your Google AI Studio account, you're going to get to a page that looks like this. We're going to go to Dashboard, and then we're going to go to Projects. Once you get to this Projects page, you're going to come over here and you're going to create a new project. And we're going to call this YouTube Demo Project. And we will create the project. Once that project is created, we're going to come over here and we're going to click on API keys, and we're going to create API key. We're going to name this YouTube Demo API key, and then we're going to select the YouTube demo project that we just created, or in your case, the name of the project that you just created, and we'll do create key. Once you've created that key, the fastest possible way to get this whole process working is to go to automationhackers.net, create your free account, and then go to NAN workflows right here and scroll down until you see the Claude MCP for Gemini file search, and then you just hit download. And it may open a page that looks like this, or it may download it to your computer. If it opens a page like this, then you can just copy all the text and you can come over here to a new workflow. Right here, we'll create workflow and we'll paste it in, and then you'll have this whole workflow automatically loaded into your NAN instance. And we're going to go through each of these step by step. So we'll save it. And the next step in the process is go to your Google Drive and you're going to create a new folder. And we're going to call this one Content Expert. Once that's created, we're going to double click into it and we're going to see that obviously this is a brand new folder, so it's going to be empty. And this is where we're going to store the files that we want to search. So since this is created, we can go on to the next step, which is back here to the workflow automation. And there are just a few things that we need to adjust to make sure that this works correctly. So you go to the Google Drive trigger, and if you aren't already connected to your Google Drive account, then you can follow one of the videos in the channel that will walk you through doing that. But I'm going to assume that you already have that done. And then we're going to set the pull time for every minute. So this is just going to check the folder that we specify every minute to see if there's a new file that's been uploaded. As long as we set the trigger to changes involve this specific folder, and then we watch for a file created. So now that we have this file or this folder created, we're going to come here and we're going to copy the URL to the folder, and then we're going to drop that right in here to the by URL field. And then we're going to fetch test event, and it's not going to work because we don't have any data in that file or in that folder. So now we'll upload a file to that folder. So we're uploading that right now, and then it'll pop up here soon. So now we have that file that's in that folder that we specified here. Now we can fetch the test event, and it's going to show now it's going to give us a result because we have a file that is in that folder. So we know that this trigger is now working correctly. And for the next step, we're going to go back and we're actually going to delete this. Then we'll come back here, and now we need to start inputting our API key throughout all of the requests that we're going to make to the Gemini API. So we'll come back here, and we have our YouTube demo API key. That's the one that we want for our YouTube demo project. We're going to copy the API key. We're going to come back to this node right here, and we're going to, this will all be set up for you if you download the workflow from automationhackers.net. And so I'm going to assume that you did that, and then we're going to come down here to create new credential. And this is going to be, it's really crucial that this is called key. So the name is going to be key, and then the value we're just going to paste in from our Google AI Studio, and then we'll save it. Now, we probably want to name this something. We'll name this the Gemini AI Studio, and then I'm going to call it demo because we're demoing it here today. So we'll save, And then we'll exit out, and you'll see now that Gemini AI Studio Demo is the query auth that we have selected here. So now this is going to allow us to connect to our Gemini project that we just created at the beginning of this video. And now what we want to do is we want to go and look through in this workflow. We're going to look at all the other places that we make an HTTP request, and we're going to update it with the credentials that we just created. So we'll double click here, and this one is set to tomorrow.ai. What we want to do is change it to Gemini AI Studio Demo, or whatever it is that you named your credentials just a second ago. So then we're going to look down the line a little bit further, and we're going to see that we have a couple more HTTP requests right here, and we need to set these ones to Gemini AI Studio Demo, and then this one as well to Gemini AI Studio Demo, and then we're going to save it. Now the other thing that we need to do is we need to create a database. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. We're going to open this database that I created as a demo, and this is what it looks like. So we have a couple of column names that we'll need to include. We'll need to include file store name, file name, and then file ID, and then these are just default value or default column names that come when you create a data table. So we're going to come back here, and for the sake of this demonstration, we are going to create a new data table, reference the old one just so that we make sure that we get it right. So we're going to say the Gemini YouTube demo data table, and then we'll create, and then you'll see that it has ID, created at, updated out. So we need to add a couple of column names. One is file store name, so we'll do that really fast. File store name and add column. And then another one that we need to add is file name, so we'll add column, file name, and all of these will be of type string, so we'll add that column. So now we have file store name, file name, and then the last one that we need to add is file ID. So we'll do file ID, type string, add column, and now we have our database ready to go. So now we're going to refresh this so it's saved. We'll refresh the page, then we'll come back to this database, and we're going to find the new data that the database that we created. So we can select Gemini YouTube Studio Demo Data Table, and then we're going to come over to this one as well and do the same thing. We're going to change this to Gemini YouTube Data Table, and then we'll save it. So now everything is customized to your credentials and to your data table. We will want to make sure that this is connected to the right Drive account as well if you haven't created those, or if you haven't connected those credentials yet. But other than that, this is going to pretty much work out of the box. So the next step in the process is that we're going to want to make this active. So we'll turn it from inactive to active, and we need to deactivate this down here at the bottom first, and then we're going to activate this. So got it, it's active. Now this will be listening every single minute for files to be added to that folder. Now the next step in the process is we need to hook up this MCP server trigger to our Claude Desktop instance so that we can access the information that we upload to our Gemini project through Claude Desktop. And we already have this set up. We need to make sure that this one is also running through Gemini AI Studio Demo so that it accesses the correct project in Gemini. And then we're going to save this, so that's ready. And then in our MCP server trigger, we have this little sticky note right here, which is called bearer token, and I'll move it here so we can see it outside of the execute workflow button. And this bearer token is very important to make sure that the security of our workflow stays tight. We're going to take this bearer token, and we are going to create a new credential, and we're going to paste that bearer token in right here, and then we're going to call this YouTube Gemini Demo, and we'll hit save. Now this protects our workflow from being accessed from somebody else who might get their hands on our MCP URL. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open up our docs here. Every single node has documentation in NAN that we can follow if we get lost. We're going to go to docs, and we're going to scroll down until we see this little chunk of JSON, and this is how we're going to configure our MCP server in Claude Desktop. So if we copy this, we're going to go over to Claude Desktop. We're going to open up our settings, We're going to go to developer, and then we're going to go to edit config, and we're going to open up this little file right here. And it's probably going to look like this for you. We're going to highlight all of this, and we're going to paste this in. We're going to call this content expert. You can name it whatever you want to, but we're going to call it content expert here. So we have a few things that we need to submit in order for this to work correctly. One is the MCP URL, and then the other thing is the MCP bearer token. So we're going to go back here to our workflow, and we're going to get the production URL. We're going to copy it, and we're going to come back and paste that right here in the MCP URL. And then we're going to go back, we're going to close this, and we're going to get this bearer token, and we're going to create, and we're going to paste it in here. And then we're going to hit save. We're going to exit out of this and exit out of this. And now we need to quit Claude Desktop, and we'll reopen it. And this refreshes those servers. Every time that Claude launches, it starts up those MCP servers. So when we save that code while Claude is active, which we have to do, it's not going in that session to be able to access the MCP server. So we close out, give it a chance to start the MCP server fresh, and then we'll come down here and we'll make sure that Content Expert is accessible, and sure enough it is and is turned on. So now we have access to our MCP server. Well, what does this MCP server do? It's connected to this tool, and it goes to our Gemini project, our Google AI Studio project, and it's going to pull data from the files that we upload, and it's going to do it through the chunking that we are executing in Gemini. So basically what that means is that each of those files that we upload into Gemini is going to be broken down into little small chunks, into contextual chunks, so that we can search, and Gemini is going to return all the contextual chunks that are relevant to the question that we are asking Claude Desktop. So let's go through an example and see what that looks like right now. And this will all be kind of out of the box for you from AI, so this will work. And then the only other thing that we need to make sure that we update is this file search store right here to make sure that we're going to the right one. So in order to do that though, first we need to create our file store, and so we'll save this and make sure all the settings are correct. And in order to create a file store, we need to run this workflow. We need to run through this process. So in order to do that, we're going to open up our Google Drive folder, and we're going to upload a file. So we're going to upload this marketing secrets PDF to that folder. And now that that's been uploaded, we're going to come back here and we're going to look for executions. We're going to wait till that file has been sent to our Gemini project. So now you can see it's running right here. So the trigger found that there was a new file that was uploaded into the folder, and it automatically started running. So we're going to wait for this to finish. It should take probably about 20-ish seconds for it to finish based on the file size. So there it is. It took 26 seconds. Now we can look at this execution and see what happened. So we will see that the Google Drive trigger was fired when we uploaded that file. It listed, then we went and we queried, or we asked Google AI Studio if there were any Gemini projects with filing cabinets, as we'll call them, and then it checks, are there filing cabinets that already exist in our project? And it found that there were not. We did not have any file stores because it was a brand new project. So it goes to this branch, and then it creates a new filing cabinet in our Google Drive project. And then we're going to store the new filing cabinet name, and then we're going to hold that filing cabinet name right here in this node. Then we move on and we get the Google Drive file names again. So they came in here, and we lost them along the way. So in this node, we're going to pick them back up and make a copy of them. And then we're going to split them out. And in this case, we just have one file. And so it's going to go here and it's going to loop over, and it's going to, so we only have one. So this should only fire once. So we're going to come here and we're going to check the database. And it says that no fields or items exist. They're empty. So then it comes to this switch statement, and it says needs to be uploaded because there wasn't an entry for that file in the database. So it's going to come here and it's going to download that Google Drive file that we uploaded because it is not a part of, or it has not been uploaded to our cabinet yet. So it downloads it. Then we grab that file and we're going to upload it to our filing clerk, as we'll call it in our project. And then we're going to add /index/catalog that file to the filing cabinet. And then we're going to make sure that we make an entry in our database so that we don't make duplicates next time. If we were to accidentally upload that file again to our folder here in Google Drive, then this would prevent it from creating a duplicate file in our project on Gemini, in our Gemini API or our Gemini AI Studio. So now if we click on this and we open up the database, we will see that there's a new entry. So it gives our file store name and our file name. And so when we are back here in our workflow, it's going to check the database to see if that file already exists to prevent it from creating duplicates. So now that that has run one time, we can come here, back here to this one, and we're going to do create new filing cabinet, and it's going to return a name of that filing cabinet. So that's file search store / this long list of this long string. So we are going to copy that, and we're going to go back to our editor. We're going to open up the get snippets from corpus. We're going to scroll down to our JSON, and then we're going to paste that name of the file search store that we just created right here into this little tool node. So we'll paste that. We're going to save it. We're going to come back over here and we're going to quit Claude Desktop just to make sure that everything is fresh now that we've made some adjustments to our MPCP server. And we're going to make sure that it's working correctly, it's connecting, and context expert is. Now this is the PDF that we uploaded. You'll see that this is 292 pages of content that we just uploaded, and we want to search for one particular question. So what we're going to ask it is, what did Russell Brunson have to regularly do when he was wrestling? And this time we're going to direct it to ask our content expert so that it knows that that's what we want it to search. So then we'll hit enter, and then it's going to ask us for permission to send this query, what did Russell Brunson have to do regularly when he was wrestling? And we'll do allow once. Now it's running get snippets from corpus. So now here is the answer. Based on the content expert, when Russell Brunson was wrestling, he regularly had to cut weight, specifically losing 7 pounds within a few hours before weigh-ins. When I was wrestling, I would regularly have to lose 7 pounds within a few hours. So now we can ask Claude Desktop questions about this file, and we can get answers without having to scan through the entire file manually ourselves, which makes things significantly faster on our part. So if you read a book, you can get it in a PDF format, and you are wondering, you have a question about a certain part that you vaguely remember, but you don't know exactly where it was, you can put it in your Gemini AI Studio, and then using this setup, you can ask Claude where that particular piece of information is, and it can save you an extraordinary amount of time. And there are endless applications for this. Now let's do a couple more examples just to show you how seamless and quick this process can be once you have this set up. Because now we can come back here to our folder in Google Drive. We can just grab a few other pieces of content, drag them in here, and it will upload them. And within about a minute or 2 minutes, you'll be able to start asking Claude about those new files that you just uploaded. So we'll come back here, we'll watch for our executions. We don't have one yet. So now we have one that popped up here. It ran again in 21 seconds. So now you'll see that this went down a different path because we already had a file store created in our project. So we got 2 items that were uploaded to our Google Drive. Then we look for the filing cabinets in our project that's already exists that we created. And then it found that 1 or more filing cabinets exist. So we go down this path instead of this path. We don't need to create a new store because we have one already. So we split out the filing cabinets, and there's 1 item. So we have one filing cabinet that exists. Now we're going to loop over them, and then we're going to find our pre-existing filing cabinet name. We're going to hold that cabinet name, and then we're going to get the Google Drive files that we uploaded to our folder. And then it's going to break them out, and we see that now there are 2 items because we indeed did upload 2 files, and then it's going to loop over these. So it's going to check the database for the file name, and both times it found that there was not already a file that was uploaded to our project named exactly like these ones are named. So if we look at our data table now, we refresh, it's going to show 2 new entries, how to succeed at Mr. Beast production, and then hookpoint.pdf, and those are the names of the ones that we uploaded. In both cases, since there were 2 items, it's going to go over this twice, and in both cases, it uploaded them to our project in Gemini. And so now we have access to asking it questions about these files. So let's go back over here, and we don't need to restart it in this case. We'll just come here and we'll say, what is the goal of our content according to Mr. Beast? I'll ask that question. What is the goal of our content according to Mr. Beast? We'll allow it. Get snippets from corpus. So it's going here and it's searching, get snippets from corpus. And there you go. According to Mr. Beast, the primary goal of their content is to excite him personally. So this is a 36-page PDF. What is the goal of our content? To excite me. The goal of our content is to excite me. So it went through this entire PDF and found this small little answer that we were looking for. Now, we uploaded two different documents. We also uploaded hook points. So let's open hook point and find a little piece of content in here that we are interested in finding the answer to. So let's say introduction, living in a 3-second world with more than 60 billion messages sent on our digital platforms each day. We have an incredible amount of information being sent to us constantly. So now let's ask, how many messages are sent out on digital platforms each day? Okay, and we need to specify in this case that we want it to look through our MCP again. So we'll say, we'll copy this. Please search the content expert. Save it. So now it's going to ask how many messages sent out on digital platforms each day. Allow once. Now it's going to get snippets from corpus. Again, it's going to search right here through our MCP server. According to our content expert, approximately 60 billion messages are sent out on digital platforms each day. So this is a 305-page PDF that we just in a matter of a few seconds got an answer to with more than 60 billion messages sent out on digital platforms. So this is correct. It was able to go through not only those 305 pages, but all the pages from the Mr. Beast PDF, and then all the pages from the Marketing Experts PDF too. So this is very, very good at finding answers to very specific questions, even when the file sizes, in terms of pages or in terms of content, are very, very large. There are an infinite number of applications for this, and the best part about it is that it is almost free. It is very, very close to free. Before these kinds of systems took developers, it was expensive, and then there was ongoing cost for the services that you had to use. And in this case, all queries are free. There's a very small uploading fee of, I think, like 15 cents per million tokens or something like that. And we haven't even gotten close to using that many, even on the number of pages that we're uploading in this case. So it's very, 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 very inexpensive. I would encourage you to go through each of these and break down all of the different configurations in each of these nodes so that you can learn how this whole thing works and why it's set up the way that it is and how you can get it set up for your specific use case. But this is really pretty close to working out of the box, and you should be able to just pretty much drop this in, change your credentials, update the file store here, go through the MCP server setup process for Claude Desktop, and then start uploading files to a folder on your Google Drive, and then start asking Claude Desktop questions about your files, and it will save you an enormous amount of time. So again, you can download the workflow by going and starting your free account at automationhackers.net, and then you have access to all of this.